Tonight, before you fall asleep, you'll probably send one last message into the dark. A text, a voice note, something thrown out into the world, half hoping someone on the other end is still awake to catch it. You do this without thinking. It's the most ordinary thing in the world, reaching out and waiting for the small relief of a reply. But somewhere in the North Pacific, beneath water so cold it would kill you in minutes, there is a voice that has been doing exactly this for over 30 years. Calling, waiting, and as far as anyone knows, never once being answered. Most people assume loneliness is a human invention, a problem of cities and screens and crowded apartments. But that's not quite right. And the real answer, hiding in a single sound wave recorded by the US Navy, is far stranger and far older than anything your phone could explain. It begins in 1989. The Cold War is ending, and the Navy has spent decades operating a secret network of underwater microphones called SOSUS, designed to track Soviet submarines crawling across the ocean floor. These hydrophones listen to everything. And one day, an oceanographer named William Watkins, working at the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution in Massachusetts, notices something buried in the data that makes no sense. A whale call. That part is normal. Whales sing constantly down there. But this one is pitched at 52 hertz. Picture a deep, low bellow. Now imagine it lifted just slightly into a register that no other whale on record produces. Blue whales call at around 10 to 39 hertz. Fin whales sit near 20. This animal sang at 52, alone, in a frequency that none of its kind seemed able to understand. Watkins tracked it across the Pacific for 12 years. The same lonely note, season after season, moving thousands of miles. And the question that haunted him, the one that still has no clean answer, was simple. Is anyone out there hearing this at all? Here's where it gets harder to shake. When Watkins finally published his findings in the journal Deep Sea Research in 2004, just months before he died, the data showed something quietly devastating. The whale wasn't lost. Its migration patterns matched the timing of blue and fin whales almost perfectly, swimming the same routes, on the same schedule, season after season. So it wasn't wandering, it was following the herd. It just couldn't speak to them. Imagine walking beside a crowd your entire life, matching their pace, sharing their road, and shouting in a language not one of them can hear. But here's what's fascinating. The story exploded because of that word, lonely. In 2004, the New York Times ran a piece, and the internet did the rest. People wrote letters. Some wept. A 2015 documentary backed by Leonardo DiCaprio raised over $400,000 to go find it. The 52 hertz whale became a symbol stitched onto backpacks in Seoul, tattooed on arms in London, written into pop songs. Millions of people who had never seen the ocean felt understood by an animal they would never meet. And honestly, what comes next is even stranger, because scientists started to disagree about what they were even hearing. John Hildebrand, a researcher at the Scripps Institution of Oceanography in San Diego, suggested the whale might be a hybrid, perhaps a cross between a blue whale and a fin whale, which would explain a body and a voice that fit no single species. Others proposed it was simply deformed, or one of a kind that naturally sings higher. And then, in 2010, sensors off the California coast picked up something the lonely narrative couldn't survive. The 52 hertz signal appeared in two places at once, too far apart to be a single animal, which means there may not be one whale at all. There may be several. But that's only half the story. Because even if there are a few of them scattered across an ocean that covers a third of the planet, the math of finding each other is brutal. Sound travels far underwater, but the Pacific is 60 million square miles wide. A handful of whales calling at the wrong frequency, drifting through that vastness, might still spend their entire lives, which can stretch 80 or 90 years, without one ever reaching another. Heard maybe, but never answered. Here's the part nobody tells you. The whale was probably never lonely at all, at least not in the way we imagined. We took an animal we couldn't fully explain and poured our own ache into it. Marine biologists are careful to point out that 52 hertz is well within the range a blue whale could physically detect. The other whales can likely hear it just fine. The story was never really about whether the whale was understood. It was about us, sitting in our rooms at night, deciding that something out in the dark must feel exactly the way we do. We didn't discover a lonely whale in 1989. We recognized ourselves. And that recognition, that desperate reaching across an impossible distance, says far more about the human animal than the marine one. And it lives in you right now, this exact instinct. In 2018, a study from York University in the UK found that loneliness peaks not in old age, as most people assume, but at 3 points across life, and the sharpest spike hits in your late 20s. Your brain treats social rejection using some of the same neural pathways as physical pain, work pioneered by Naomi Eisenberger at UCLA back in 2003, which means the urge to send that last message tonight, to fling a signal out and wait, isn't weakness. It's wiring older than language. You are doing what that whale does, broadcasting on your own frequency into a dark you can't see the edges of, hoping the shape of your voice lands somewhere that knows how to answer. And the quiet terror underneath it all is that you can never be entirely sure it will. What if being understood was never guaranteed to any of us? What if the call itself, not the reply, is the whole point of being alive? The thing that proves we were ever here at all. Tonight, when you send that last message into the dark and watch the screen, waiting for those 3 small dots to appear, remember the voice still moving through the North Pacific, still calling, still on schedule, still singing its one strange note into water that may never send anything back. And maybe that's not tragic. Maybe that's just what it means to be alive and reaching. The whale never stopped. Neither will you.